Hi everyone, I hope you're all doing well. I just wanted to do a quick video um, as I felt inspired to go out on a little walk today, and I just feel like I want to share with you um, just how important it is to just be spontaneous sometimes and go on a walk and just be in nature and to be with your thoughts and to be at peace with your thoughts. I've I haven't been at peace with myself for a very long time, and it's caused me a lot of issues. Um, Developed a lot of bad habits that have kept me in a low vibrational energy, and it stopped me from achieving the things that I want and the things that I know I can achieve. Um, so I'm at a point where I want to take more control of my life and be in the driver's seat. I think a lot of us can relate to that at points in our life where we just feel like we lose control and we feel like we give up part of ourselves to something else, you know, like whether that's ego or something, influence, but we allow something else to drive our minds rather than our true being, you know. We lose ourselves and we just become puppets in our own bodies. And I'm speaking from experience, I've made a lot of mistakes over the past few years that when I look back, you know, I just ask myself how much control did I have in those moments, And the question is, not the question, sorry, the answer is, you know, you have the power to be in control of your mind, You have the power to be aware of things that don't serve you. Um, but it's a process, and it's one that I found very, very difficult. And yeah, I've just put up certain walls in my life that have led to more challenges, and you know, I just want to share my journey. So along the way, I'm learning in this journey of life. I'm still learning, guys. um, and I want to share my story. I want, you know, to connect with people that, have similar stories or can, understand, and, we can, help each other through our collective experiences, Um, but yeah, I was watching a tarot card reading the other day, and just connected with me in such a deep, deep level, like all the pointers of what um, the, the lady was saying. It just felt like she was speaking directly to me, um, all down to the signs. It was like serpent, the Ouroboros, which came up in the reading, which is something I have here. Um, and essentially what that symbol represents is cycles and, karmic cycles. Um, and I just find it quite interesting that a lot of tribulations and things that I've had to experience in my life, I've had to experience them again and again, you know, in like a cycle type of way. But they've all been karmic, you know, and they've all been there because what the universe has been telling me all along is, you know, you're in control of changing that cycle, you know, that cycle of change, you know. You can create a different cycle if you choose to, but it's all down to your beliefs, you know. If you have a limited belief set, a limited mindset, then you're gonna have a limited reality. And that was one thing that, you know, I did have in a lot of ways. I had a limited mindset, I had limited beliefs on myself that I'm trying to break free from now. I had a lot of low self-esteem growing up, and I've allowed that to carry over into my adult life. I'm in a point where, you know, I just want to shed away from that. You know, and the more tense you are with yourself, the more self-critical and, you know, resentful and all these negative association, you know, all these words that have negative connotations, you know. If you think these things about yourself, then, you know, and you don't think from a place of love and understanding, you know, we are going to make mistakes. We're not perfect humans, but if we don't understand ourselves and we don't understand, you know, yeah, we're just not understanding with ourselves like a friend, then it's very hard to do that with other people. And it's been such a challenge for me to, as I've, when I got into relationships eventually, that was one thing that was hard for me to do, was to connect my emotions, you know, connect my emotions to other people, because I always found it so hard to connect my own emotions. And yeah, you know, it's not good, guys, it's not good. I'm also trying to break free of some old habits that are no longer serving me, that I've developed since, you know, since I was 18. I started these habits, and the habits I'm talking about is alcohol and smoking tobacco. Naturally, I've always been someone that's been into fitness, been into health. I've, you know, that's been a big part of me, but I was very sheltered, and I didn't really, you know, most of my training I'd do in places that weren't too crowded. Wasn't a big fan of commercial gyms, just due to me being very socially awkward. You know, I was very socially awkward growing up, and being in environments where there were lots of people, I couldn't hack. But anything where I could train in nature or go to a park, or a lot of like old school gyms that had like really low number of people going to it, I would occasionally go to. But yeah, I'd have this focus on myself and just developing. And I was artistic and things like that. But I found it hard to connect with people, and I found it really hard to connect the dots that, you know, people might have thought I was an interesting person, you know. I just did things because I did them, because I enjoyed them, you know. I just worked out because I enjoyed it, but I never had no impression that people, you know, that guys wanted to be my friends, or that girls were interested in me, you know, growing up. And yeah, I was just had a when I was in high school, a very small selection of other introverted people, and we all stayed in our circle, and we didn't really evolve out of that until I left high school, and then I didn't really want to stay in that box, you know. Um, but as I got to uni, um, it was, you know, I wanted to connect and to develop better friendships, and that was of, you know, deep importance to me. But yeah, when I started, you get into bad habits, and if you already have pains or negative opinions about yourself, um, you need to be, when, you know, I don't talk about drugs in the sense of, you know, you shouldn't do it, but I do think that drugs, you need to, your energy needs to be open to whatever it is you're taking. You know, you need to have, your vibration needs to be good, you know, like if you're taking shrooms and you're in a negative mind state, you know, you're gonna have a bad trip. And it's a similar case to alcohol, you know. I think when a lot of us are starting uni and, you know, we're doing all these different things, you know, one of the things that it's not really educated before we, you know, take these substances and drink and all this stuff is, you know, you know, what's our mental state before we start, you know, where are we at emotionally, you know, how do we feel about ourselves beforehand, you know, because I do think it should always come from a place, you know, a good place. You should always be feeling good before you take alcohol or anything like that, you know. You should always be feeling good to feel even better, you know, not feeling worse and shit to feel even shitter when you drink the alcohol. And the thing for me was I already had all this baggage, you know, and I wasn't healed, man. I was very, I was a very, yeah, I wasn't a happy teenager, you know, all in all, to be real with you guys. And so when I started drinking, when I came to uni, and I got introduced to, you know, the alcohols in the student bars and things of that nature, it got hooks. I got hooks. Sorry, but not in, you know, the way that people think. You know, it was a very sheltering experience where I was doing it to numb myself. You know, and I thought, you know, I was using it as a mask. You know, I thought initially, you know, maybe I could be more confident. Maybe it'll help me talk to people more, and all these different things. But it really, you know, it became a crutch, and yeah, yeah, I just became really bad with it, and it wasn't necessarily helping me become more social. And there were times where, you know, after a lecture, you know, I'd go to a student bar and I'd have hard liquor, you know, like Jack Daniels, and you know, I get back on with my day. But when I think back on it, you know, older me looking back at that scenario, and if I saw, you know, that young version of myself at that ripe age, getting hard liquor between his study sessions, I would sit down with him and be like, bro, are you okay, man? Like, what's going on, you know? Like, I don't even think you should be served, like, during the day at universities, you know, with that type of thing anyway. You know, I think it's it had an effect on me, you know, because I used it as a crutch. But yeah, um, and balance is important. I'm not saying that to anyone to not drink, but what I want to document in my videos is just my journey of cutting down, and also just being aware, you know. It's been a long journey in the making, and yeah, I just think in university settings, you know, when kids are very young and they're getting into that, I think the student bar is very questionable. Or even in a sense, I'm not saying it shouldn't exist, you know, student bar, but should there be certain times where it should operate, and should, you know, I think um, staff just need to be more observant of people, you know. Why are you drinking during the day at uni, you know? Why are you doing that? It should be questioned, you know. It's not normal. It's not normal. And I look back on it and I think, fucking hell, bro, that's bad, you know. You should be studying and socialising, making friends, not drinking by yourself. I sort of tell that younger version of myself. But yeah, guys, I'm gonna meditate here for a bit and just take all this in. And yeah, I'm gonna be documenting my journey of getting back into my fitness a lot more, you know. Yeah, I am still fitness enthusiast. I love training, but it's been a long time, you know. It's been a long time, guys, and I've had a hiatus with that type of thing. It's been about 5 years since I've had any consistent level of training, and yeah, there's going to be a lot of that type of content, a lot of nature content. And yeah, guys, if there's any nature around your area, get out, you know, why not? Enjoy the nature that you have around you, appreciate what you have in your back door. Until today, I never knew this existed, and it's only about 10 minutes to where I'm currently residing right now. So it's, you know, you got to take advantage to what's around you, you know. Really take it in. But yeah, I'm gonna stop talking now. Take care, everyone.